The sun hung low over the rolling fields, painting the sky with streaks of gold and crimson. On the far edge of town, two sisters, twins, identical in face but not in temperament, worked quietly on their family's farm. Emma and Claire had always been outsiders. The townsfolk whispered about them being different, though no one could quite explain why. Maybe it was because they kept to themselves, or because the twins were sharper, stronger, and calmer than most kids their age. High school hadn't been kind. The same bullies who sneered at anyone different had chosen the farm girl twins as their favorite targets. Brad, the ringleader, came from money and arrogance. His sidekicks, Derek, Tyler, and Vanessa, laughed at his every cruel word. They mocked the twins' worn clothes, their muddy boots, and their quiet confidence. "Hey, farm girls," Brad had jeered more than once. "Do you two share a brain, or just the cow you milk every morning?" The laughter that followed was sharp and cruel. But Emma and Claire never reacted. They exchanged looks only they could read, as if they were silently deciding whether their tormentors were even worth acknowledging. That calm silence infuriated the bullies. Brad wanted to break them, to see fear in their eyes. One Friday evening, as the twins walked home from school down the dusty road past the cornfields, Brad and his crew blocked their path with their shiny trucks. Well, Brad smirked, stepping out. "Look who wandered too far from the barn." The twins didn't answer. Emma adjusted the strap of her backpack, and Claire's eyes flicked once to the horizon, noting how much daylight they had left. They weren't scared, but they were calculating. Vanessa snorted. "What's the matter? Cat got your tongue. Or maybe the goats." Derek grabbed Emma's backpack and yanked it off her shoulder, spilling books and notebooks into the dirt. The bullies burst out laughing, expecting the twins to cry, to beg, to run. Instead, Emma bent down slowly, gathering her books with deliberate care. Claire's eyes hardened, steel blue, sharp enough to cut. "Pick it up," Claire said quietly to Derek. The laughter died down a little. There was something in her tone, not a plea, but a command. Derek raised an eyebrow, glancing nervously at Brad, who motioned for him to ignore her. "Make me," Derek sneered. It happened faster than anyone could process. Claire stepped forward, grabbed Derek's wrist, and twisted it in a fluid motion. He yelped, dropping the backpack as his knees buckled. The sound of his scream echoed across the empty road. "What the?" Tyler rushed forward, but Emma was already moving. She shoved him sideways, her movements precise and economical, sending him sprawling into the dirt. Brad froze, his smirk collapsing into disbelief. Vanessa stepped back, clutching her phone, unsure whether to film or call for help. The twins moved in sync, like they had rehearsed it 1,000 times. Emma's hand locked Derek's arm behind his back, pressing him to the ground. Claire pivoted toward Tyler, who scrambled back, holding his shoulder where he'd landed hard. "You wanted us to react," Emma said evenly, her voice calm but cold. "Here it is. Stop. Enough." Derek screamed, his face twisted in pain. Claire released him, shoving him aside like he weighed nothing. He scrambled to his feet, clutching his arm, too scared to fight back. Brad's bravado returned just enough for him to spit out, You freaks. You think you can scare us?" Emma stepped forward, her eyes locked on his. She wasn't smiling. "No. We're not trying to scare you. We're just teaching you something you should have learned a long time ago." Brad swallowed, his throat dry. He glanced around, the open road, the setting sun, his friends already backing away. No crowd to cheer him on. No safety in numbers when the numbers had been broken. Vanessa's voice trembled as she whispered, "Let's go, Brad. Just leave it." For the first time, the bullies didn't laugh. Their jeers were replaced by silence, broken only by the sound of cicadas buzzing in the fields. One by one, they retreated, climbing back into their trucks with shaky hands and pale faces. Brad lingered a moment longer, glaring at the twins, but the fire in his eyes had been replaced by fear he couldn't mask. The twins watched them drive off, the roar of engines fading into the distance. Only when the dust settled did Emma finally exhale. She picked up the last of her books, brushed off the dirt, and handed one to Claire. "Think they'll be back?" Claire asked. Emma shook her head. "Not like that." They walked home side by side, the evening light casting long shadows across the fields. The twins didn't need to speak of what had just happened. They both knew this had been inevitable, that silence and patience only lasted so long. Word spread fast in town. By Monday morning, everyone had heard how the farm girl twins had snapped and taken down Brad and his crew. The details were exaggerated with every retelling. Some said Emma had flipped Derek over her shoulder, others swore Claire had knocked Tyler out cold. But the truth was simpler. The bullies had finally pushed too far, and the twins had reminded them that strength doesn't always wear fancy clothes or drive shiny trucks. When the bullies walked into school that day, they avoided the twins' eyes. No smirks, no jeers, no laughter. Just silence. And for the first time, Emma and Claire felt the weight of their years of endurance lift. The twins didn't want to be feared, but they would no longer be underestimated. And if anyone forgot, well, the memory of Brad's terrified face and Derek's scream for mercy would remind them. Because out on the farm, Emma and Claire had learned more than just how to plant seeds and mend fences. They had learned discipline, grit, and resilience. And when forced to, they showed that the quietest people often carried the loudest strength. The bullies had wanted a show. What they got instead was a lesson they would never forget. And from that day forward, whenever the twins walked through the school halls, the whispers changed. No longer mocking, no longer cruel. Just awe, and a touch of fear.